Welcome to the ScaleUp Club Monthly Podcast, the show where we dive into the strategies and tactics that help businesses like yours achieve sustainable growth. I'm Kevin Brent.
And I'm Granger Forson. We're thrilled to be your hosts on this journey to scaling up.
In today's episode, we're tackling a topic that's crucial for any business looking to break through to the next level. We're calling it Building Killer Business Habits, Creating the Heartbeat of Growth.
Exactly, Kevin. Because let's be honest, everyone starts with a dream, but very few actually scale successfully. The real difference isn't the dream itself, it's the daily habits you build.
That's right, Granger. It's not just about the hustle, it's about creating those consistent, reliable habits that drive execution and ultimately lead to sustainable growth. We'll be exploring how to build those habits and why they matter more than just grinding away. So, Granger, why do you think habits are so critical when it comes to scaling a business?
I think it boils down to consistency, Kevin. Everyone has bursts of inspiration and moments of intense hustle, but those are hard to replicate day after day. It's the daily habits that form the invisible architecture of success. They're the foundation upon which you build a scalable business.
I totally agree. It's like the saying goes, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit.
Exactly. These aren't just any habits either. We're talking about habits that directly impact your ability to execute your strategy. These are the habits that actually bring your vision to life.
And without them,
Without those key habits, even the best ideas can get lost between inspiration and action. You might have this brilliant strategy, but without the right habits in place, it's like trying to drive a car without an engine. You're not going anywhere.
that's a great analogy. It all comes back to bridging that strategy execution gap, doesn't it? Having a great strategy is only half the battle. You need the right habits to actually put that strategy into action. So we've talked about why habits matter, but let's dig a little deeper into this strategy execution gap. What exactly is it, Granger, and why is it such a problem for businesses trying to scale?
The strategy execution gap is the space between having a great plan and actually making it happen. It's the difference between knowing what you should be doing and actually doing it consistently.
And the stats on this are pretty grim, aren't they?
They are, Kevin. According to numerous studies, over 70% of business strategies fail to be executed effectively. That's a huge number.
Wow, 70%. That's a lot of wasted potential. So why is this gap so prevalent?
Because strategy is only half the equation. Execution, turning those ideas into reality, is the hard part. It's easy to get caught up in planning and brainstorming, but the real challenge is consistently implementing those plans.
It's like having a beautifully designed house blueprint, but never actually laying the foundation or building the walls.
Precisely. Without clear priorities, regular alignment, and consistent follow-through, even the best laid plans will fall apart. That's where good habits come in.
So habits are the bridge across this gap.
Exactly. Good habits bridge this gap by creating a structured, disciplined way to turn intentions into outcomes. They provide the framework for consistent action, ensuring that your strategy doesn't just sit on a shelf gathering dust.
Okay, so we know habits are important to bridge the strategy execution gap. Let's dive into some specific habits that can really make a difference. The first one we want to talk about is the power of 90-day planning cycles, our G90 summits. Granger, what are these all about?
Kevin, G90 summits are all about taking a step back every 90 days to reassess and refocus. Think of it as a quarterly reset for your business.
I like that, a quarterly reset. So it's like hitting the pause button on the day-to-day chaos to get some perspective.
Exactly. Every 90 days you step back from the day-to-day firefighting and reset your focus. It's about being proactive instead of reactive.
Makes sense. So what exactly happens during one of these G90 summits? What are the key components?
There are a few crucial elements. First, you reflect on the last quarter. What were the wins? What were the losses? What lessons did you learn?
It's kind of like a mini post-mortem, right?
In a way, yes. But it's not just about dwelling on what went wrong. It's about extracting valuable insights to inform your future actions. Then, you reconfirm your North Star, your vision, and overall strategy. Is it still relevant? Does it need tweaking?
So making sure you're still heading in the right direction.
Absolutely. And then you identify 5 to 7 business-wide priorities for the next 90 days. These are the key areas that you're going to focus on.
This is where you get really specific, right? No more vague goals.
Exactly. And finally, you set 3-5 individual rocks for each key team member, and these are directly linked to those business priorities.
Rocks?
Yeah, rocks. It's a simple way of saying the most important things that each team member needs to get done in the next 90 days.
I see. So everyone knows exactly what they're responsible for and how it contributes to the bigger picture. So, why is this 90-day cycle so effective?
It matters because it creates urgency without overwhelm. It breaks your strategy into bite-sized, achievable sprints. Plus, it keeps everyone aligned around what matters most.
Alignment is key. And what about course correction?
It makes it obvious when you're drifting off course and gives you a chance to correct fast. It's a built-in feedback loop that keeps you on track.
So, we've talked about the longer term planning with the G90 summits. Now, let's zoom in a bit and discuss another crucial habit: Smart 7 weekly meetings. Granger, what are these all about?
Kevin, Smart 7 meetings are designed to create a weekly pulse in your business. They're structured, fast-paced, and high impact, and they're all about creating alignment and accountability.
Okay, so a quick focus check-in. What makes them so effective?
Well, first off, they create real accountability. It's a weekly check-in on those rocks and actions we talked about in the G90 summits. Everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing, and this is where they report on their progress.
Keeps everyone on their toes. What else?
They surface challenges early, before they become crises. Because you're meeting weekly, you can catch potential problems and address them quickly.
Proactive problem solving. I like it. And does it help with team unity?
Absolutely. They align the team around goals and culture. Everyone's on the same page, working towards the same objectives. Plus, they build momentum, 1 week at a time. It's a consistent rhythm that keeps things moving forward.
So, what does a typical Smart 7 meeting look like? Can you walk us through the agenda?
Sure. The meeting is split into 3 parts: report, challenge, and action.
Sounds efficient. Let's break it down. What happens in the report section?
In the report section, you start by reviewing one business value. Someone shares a quick example of living, or not living, a company value.
Interesting. So it's not just about the numbers, it's about reinforcing the company culture.
Exactly. Then you do highlights and lowlights, a 30-second round where everyone shares what went well and what didn't. After that, there's a workload stress check, where people share how stretched they are feeling.
Important to keep an eye on team well-being.
Definitely. Then comes the feedback check, where you discuss customer or employee feedback that has been received. And finally, a progress update on those rocks and smart actions, and a quick weekly actions review of that action list. On track, off track, or complete.
So, report is all about checking in on progress, workload, and values. What about challenge?
Challenge is where you address the tough stuff. It starts with learnings, or tally, which is a 10-minute session to bring in feedback and intelligence from inside and outside the business.
External perspective is always valuable.
Absolutely. And that leads into the focused challenge solver, where you spend 30 minutes prioritizing the biggest challenges or opportunities and try to solve them then and there.
So, you're not just identifying problems, you're actively working to solve them during the meeting. I like that action-oriented approach. What's the final section, action, all about?
That's all about defining next steps. It starts with smart action setting, where you define the next actions: what, who, when, and measures.
Getting clear on who's doing what by when?
Exactly. Then you have key takeaways, where everyone spends 1 minute each to define their not one focus this week, their one key thing.
Setting their intention for the week. Smart.
And finally, a meeting review, 2 minutes to reflect on what went well, even better if.
Fantastic. So, with that 3-part structure, how does this translate into making things better?
Well, with all those factors in play, it creates real accountability, surfaces challenges early, aligns the team around goals and culture, and builds momentum 1 week at a time.
So, we've got our longer-term planning and our weekly check-ins sorted. What's next?
This is where we get into focused execution. We need to discuss the one key thing habit.
The one key thing? What's that all about?
At the end of each Smart 7 meeting, every team member commits to one key thing they will achieve that week. Just one thing.
One thing? Why just one?
Because focus is power, Kevin. It forces you to prioritize. That one key thing has to directly contribute to a rock or priority we set in our G90 summit. So we know it's aligned with our overall goals.
Okay, I see. It's not just any random task, it's something meaningful.
Exactly. And here's the crucial part. They have to state when and how they will carve out focused time to deliver it. It's not enough to just say, I'll do it. You have to schedule it and commit to it.
So it's about intention and action.
Precisely. Some people will respond to the idea of scheduling golden time each day, maybe 90 minutes of focused work without interruption. Others will find something different that works for them.
Right, we're all different.
The important thing is that everyone commits to how they will ensure that they achieve the one thing.
So why is this one key thing habit so important? What does it do for the business?
Well, it creates a culture of execution, not just discussion. It's easy to talk about what you're going to do, but this forces you to actually do it.
Makes sense. It also sounds like it builds individual responsibility.
Absolutely. Each team member is accountable for their one key thing. They can't pass the buck. Plus, it teaches prioritization and discipline. You have to decide what's most important and then stick to it.
So it's not just about getting things done, it's about getting the right things done.
Exactly. It helps people work on the business, not just in the business. They're focusing on the strategic priorities, not just getting caught up in day-to-day tasks.
So we've got these habits in place. We're planning every 90 days, meeting weekly and focusing on our one key thing. What's the overall impact?
That's where we get into building a high-performance culture. It's not just about getting more done, it's about transforming the way your team works.
How so? What does a high performance culture look like?
Well, for starters, teams stop being reactive. They get proactive. Instead of just responding to fires, they're anticipating challenges and planning ahead.
That sounds a lot less stressful.
Absolutely. And people start connecting their work to those strategic priorities we talked about. They understand how their one key thing contributes to the bigger picture.
That's a huge motivator, knowing your work matters.
Exactly. It also makes accountability normal. It's not something that's forced or dreaded. It's just part of the way you work.
So you create a culture where people feel responsible.
Exactly. And wins are celebrated. Not just the big successes, but the small victories along the way. It creates a positive and supportive environment.
Acknowledging progress must really help keep the team motivated.
For sure. And when challenges arise, they're tackled together as a team, not swept under the rug or blamed on individuals.
That's a sign of a really healthy culture.
It is. Ultimately, all of this leads to one thing. Energy rises and stress falls. When people are clear on their goals, feel supported, and see their work making a difference, they're more engaged and energized.
That sounds like a place where people would actually want to work.
Exactly. And ultimately, your team feels ownership for the company's success because they see exactly how their focused effort drives real results. That's the power of building these habits.
So, what's the best way to get started with all of this?
There's a suggested 90-minute sprint activity in the booklet. It's designed to help you install the heartbeat of execution.
What's involved?
First, make sure you've scheduled those next 4 G90 summits as a minimum. Then set up that weekly recurring Smart 7 meeting, adapting it to your specific needs. And finally, introduce the one key thing concept and the focused work time discipline at your next Smart 7.
Sounds like a solid plan.
The most important thing is to commit to evolving your rhythm as you grow. What works for a team of 5 might not work for a team of 50. Be flexible and willing to adapt.
Absolutely. So, final thoughts?
It all comes down to this. Most businesses fail to scale, not because they lack ideas, but because they lack execution. The habits you build now will define the business you become later.
Couldn't agree more.
Remember, rhythm plus focus plus accountability equals sustainable growth. Build your business heartbeat, create your rhythm, bridge the strategy execution gap once and for all.
It's time to scale smart. So, to summarize, we've discussed the importance of habits over hustle, bridging the strategy execution gap, and implementing 90-day planning cycles, Smart 7 weekly meetings, and the one key thing habit.
Absolutely, these habits can really transform your business.
Thanks everyone for tuning in to ScaleUp Club Monthly.
We hope you found this episode insightful and actionable.
Next time, we'll be diving into the topic of effective delegation strategies for rapid growth. So be sure to tune in.
And don't forget to check out the show notes for links to the resources mentioned in this episode, including the ScaleUp Monthly theme booklet. See you next time.